Alright, we should be ready to begin. So today I wanted to go over things that can be in Logic under the Choozo settings. I'm going to be focusing on things that are in the basic difficulty. I am going to cover a few things that can be in Logic in the easy difficulty too, but mainly wanted to focus on the things that are always, pretty much always in Logic. You can't really turn them off. I was going to check my cheat sheet here. So, like, if you look at the website, there's 5 things listed: wall jumping, shine sparks, mid-air morph, crouch jump, and unequip items, which we'll talk a little bit more about, like why you'd want to unequip items. But just kind of starting with wall jump, that doesn't mean every kind of wall jump that you can do. So, for example, this wall jumps here. It is possible to wall jump up this. Like that. You use delayed wall jumps. That's how those work. So you kind of wait until you don't go right away. You don't go like that. You kind of push away from the wall a bit and then jump, and Samus will get a little bit more distance with the wall, and that allows her to get around this stuff here. That is not in Logic at the basic level. You are not expected to do that. But there are many other wall jumps in this game that you will be expected to do. So, for example, like if I head over to Big Pink here, we've got this here. Even though this is a little ledge to get around, you are going to be expected to know this one. So, you won't be able to do it like if you jump here, but if you jump from down here, then you can do it. You can jump as quickly as you want, and you can still get around that. So any sort of wall jump like this, you would be expected to know. You're not going to be required to get space jump or anything. In fact, this could actually be morph right here. Like if you had a start in Big Pink, that could be morph ball right there. By the way, if you're worried about these Crumbleblocks, kind of like over here, it's actually a trick you can do for Crumbleblocks. If you break spin, like you can angle or shoot, and then you can actually jump just before you land on the Crumbleblocks and hold jump. And Samus will automatically jump over the blocks. Like that. So I did it a little bit too early there. I held jump way early, so you can't go super early. So another room that might come up in is this room. This is another one where that item, I don't think this can morph, but it could be something important. And you'll be expected to get that with practically no items. You don't need Spring Ball. I do happen to have Spring Ball turned on here. Spring Ball does make this room easy. So we can see, you kind of jump off these all day if you hold the Spring Ball jump. But, just timing your, just jumping a little bit early when you're not in spin jump. I don't think it works when you're in spin jump. Maybe it does. Maybe the whole advice about not being spin jump is just wrong. That seems to be working to me. Okay, never mind. Oh, that even worse. So anyway, you can hold jump just a bit early and just keep it held, and you'll jump off those. It is you for spin ball. Alright, let's go back to where we were. So, now I am going to be kind of keeping that little item tracker there at the top left. So you can see I've turned on a few more items here. I've got Screw Attack and I've got Speed. That's it. 2 items. Where did my percentage go? It's kind of weird like that, right? There it is. Seems to work preset. It doesn't show that stuff. Interesting. Yeah, 2%, and I don't even have morph, but we are now expected to be able to get not only up to Gauntlet, but we can actually go in. So there are a lot of rules for well, actually there aren't a lot of rules. There are a couple rooms. There's X-ray room and there's Gauntlet that are considered hard rooms, and there's more. You need more energy tanks or more items or whatever. But for Gauntlet, Screw Attack, that just like bypasses everything. It's like, oh, you got Screw Attack, you're good. You can just do the whole room. And that could be a little tricky at the basic difficulty. You see, like, you know, we can charge up a spark here, come over here and shoot up. And then we can get over here. That just burned all our energy. I did turn off the health alarm. I don't want to listen to that. So actually, but one thing you might want to do is maybe come over here and do it like over here, maybe. Yeah, you can even do a little bit better job than that, so you can conserve some of your health. Something that I did want to cover, though, about this room, is not only that it's kind of a dangerous room to begin with. You see, like, I barely touched that acid with, like, 12 damage, barely touching it. With Screw Attack, I'm not going to be able to do it now that I'm, like, trying to do it. Oh, here we go. See, I got stuck here, and then now I'm dead. Because you don't have Morph, you can't unmorph out of that situation. Now, that one I might have been able to get out of, because I was right on the edge. But it is possible to get stuck in there. There's some trick to get out, some sort of wiggle trick, but it takes a while. And, you know, with the acid, with those yapping maws, you're just going to be dead if that happens. You're definitely going to want to save. You know, don't be afraid to go save here before you do any sort of early job check, even if you have more items. Another Shine Spark you're going to be expected to know is to be able to get up to power bumps, Crateria power bumps. So with that one, come up here. You can actually save, by the way, and I still have that spark charged, and then when you're done saving, it lines you up perfect here. So we just face right, and then do a diagonal spark. Takes you right up here. Although again, only 29 health. You know, you're going to have to be careful. Obviously, we would need Morph and power bombs as well, but some of these rooms you got to be careful. All right, let's see. The next thing I wanted to cover was looks like Crateria Supers. Oh, I'm not doing it. I'm just doing it anyway. Okay. So Crateria Supers. So again, you know, if you've got speed and ice, you're expected to be able to know this. And, you know, what's a little bit tricky about that is, you know, freezing these. Well, I guess if you freeze pretty easy. But of course, freezing them all in the right spot, you know, without charge and ice. Charge beam to kind of freeze these like you normally would. This can be a little bit tricky. You can kill them with power bombs. So since we have 3 power bombs, I believe we can kill all these guys. Especially my last 3 power bombs here. Another thing you can do is you can do a full charge this way. That wasn't quite a full charge. And then you do the exact same thing in the opposite direction. And then you can make it over here. There's barely enough time to do it. You may notice I jumped here. If you even try to go to like here, you'll usually run out of charge. It's that close, but you can. It's basically a full run and a full run. And what's actually happening? What's actually happening is you're getting to blue, and so that's what's happening. You have this blue. We didn't see it before because we had the spark charged, but because you're getting the blue, you're able to go through these things without taking damage, and that allows you to kind of continue on to get to this far. And so that's also why you don't want to do this. You don't want to do this and then try to like run through because you've lost all your run speed. You actually want to go back towards the door, charge right when you get to the door, and then turn around and run. So with a little bit of practice, you can do that as long as you've got. You're going to need at least 1 energy tank for this too. Varia difficulty should check for all that, but in theory, if you have 1 energy tank, power bombs, speed, ice, you might be expected to know this. Something I was gonna mention, but I forgot to mention it. I can come back to it. So if we go back to Big Pink here, most people are familiar with the Spore Spawn skip. I don't actually have any items right now, but you would power bomb this out, and then you can shoot the super back behind it. That is not required. It's not logically required, because if you have power bombs and supers, then you also have enough to get up to here. You can go all the way up to fight Spore Spawn normally. But it is possible that you can see, like, to get here, the only thing I actually need is like either missiles or supers. Let's go ahead and sell supers. And then let's go ahead and do this. I mean, I theoretically have enough to do this fight. And so the power bombs to get back out, you need bombs or power bombs to get back out. Those could be at the other end of the Spore Spawn fight. It could be a required Spore Spawn fight. That's definitely something that can happen logically. In fact, I was actually thinking about it. I don't know what would prevent Morph from being on the other side of this. I think Morph could be down there even, potentially. So just something to consider, just because there's no way out of a check. I mean, imagine if this was the vanilla game. You know, in vanilla, yeah. in vanilla, you're supposed to go in here without supers, and you need supers to leave. And, you know, so vanilla requires you to do these one-way checks. And that's why they're also allowed in the Maridia randomizer. Of course, you should save before making any sort of play like that. Unless you're absolutely sure, even then you probably should save. But, I mean, you don't want to get software by accident, lose all your progress. But it's usually one of the last things people will check is this one here, but it is a thing that can happen. Alright, next thing I wanted to cover is the big Sidehoppers. Okay, so for regular bosses and also for mini bosses, Varia has built-in logic for what you need. So for Croc, you generally need charge, or you need a whole bunch of ammo. For Ridley, you need a bunch of ammo. For Phantoon, you might need some E-tanks. The bosses have pretty well-defined logic on what you need. I shouldn't say it's well-defined. I should say it's so well-defined that it's hard to understand it. I could not explain to you exactly what the logic is, because it varies on what exactly equipment you have and the difficulty settings and all that stuff. But the point is, you're not required to go fight Phantoon with no energy tanks. However, aside from the major bosses, the logic generally doesn't care about E-tanks. So, since we have supers and power bombs and morph, we're good to go for this room as far as the Varia randomizer concerns. Even though we don't have any energy tanks, and as we can see, no, whoops, I just lost 80 health. You know, I'm almost dead already. By the way, these guys, what you want to do is kind of go them all over here, and then power bomb will double hit. And then they all drop health because you're low. So there is a trick to doing this room, and you will have power bombs. That is the kind of saving grace. In the vanilla game, you have to have power bombs before you can get to these rooms. So there's the one in Blue Grid Star, the Crateria power bombs. There's the Wavegate room. Wavegate E-tank room has the big Sidehoppers. The Mission Impossible room. All those rooms require power bombs, and so you're intended to get to them later in the game. And that same rule helps out a little bit with Varia. The other thing is that Varia doesn't care about E-tanks for all these various enemies. It doesn't tend to be as picky. You know, sometimes Varia will try to hide, well, this wouldn't be the first power bombs or first supers, but because I needed both of those to get here. But sometimes Varia likes to hide the first supers or hide the first power bombs. It's not going to do that for energy tanks as much, and so That can help. Another thing you can do, you can also pick Major Minor. That tends to make it a little bit more likely to find energy tanks if you're finding that to be a big problem. But I just wanted to throw that out there. There's no minimum health. Unless it's a mini boss or a full boss, don't expect there to be an energy requirement, except for maybe for a Shinespark. So that one we just did with the Climb Supers. That's a pretty long spark. Now, interestingly, since I'm on that topic, I'm going to skip ahead. Am I ready for it? Yeah. While we're on the topic of energy tanks. Okay. So, most people are familiar, there's this, there's the Main Street misses up here. And the way you're supposed to get them in vanilla, you're supposed to go to this room. You're actually supposed to come through from the other side. There's usually a gate here. I actually have the area random tweaks on, so this gate's gone. You can like kill these enemies. You'd probably open this door ahead of time. You know, and then you run, charge your spark, kind of run through here, go to where this plant is, and go up. Although, you can see we just missed it. So, the Varia will require you to have one energy tank before it puts this in logic at the basic difficulty. However, if we go up just one difficulty level, if we go to easy difficulty, you can do what's called a simple short charge. That means you hold the air direction for a little bit and then dash. So like normally if I hold dash like this, I can't quite get charged. But if I start running and then hold dash, see I can get charged here. Go here. I'm still short. Here's the interesting thing. Because you're on this ledge, this is actually not that easy to do as a single tap. I usually double tap it. Varia expects you to do that. They think, oh, you know the simple short charge. You're going to spark from up here. Therefore, you don't need that energy tank. So theoretically, that could be required at easy difficulty. Again, it's pretty unlikely that this would actually be required, that there would be literally no energy tanks that you could find. But it could happen. And another interesting thing about short charges is that's it. There's the basic, like, you don't need a short charge at all. And then there's that simple short charge. Anything that's tighter than that is pretty much out of logic. Like, it's considered a tight short charge. So this one actually is kind of tight. Of course, I'm not going to do it now. It's kind of tight. But there are some other ones that aren't even that tight that are considered out of logic because it's more than a simple short charge. So, thought I would cover that. Alright. Next I want to talk about the Forgotten Highway, the wreck ship. So Choozo does have the Varia tweaks on. Now I'm playing on a practice round. This is not a Varia tweaks. So if I run and jump over here, so if you come over here, it's actually possible to get over here even in the vanilla game when you haven't beaten Phantoon yet. It's not easy to do, but you can do it. And if you do, this room has no water in it, no enemies, and also no E-Tank. This is just not here. However, with Varia tweaks on, this will have an item. And that can happen, well, it's true all the time in Choozo, but it can even happen in other randomizer settings if you have an early start, random start that's in the wreck ship. And so how that would work is, why would this item be here enabled? Those spikes don't do damage. That's interesting. These spikes do damage when the ship is off. You can see like there's no sparks here, which makes sense. The ship's not powered. But also, these spikes in here don't do any damage. These ones, you just jump around on these all day. And there's no Kazans, the ones that really do a lot of damage. They're not here. We can see because there's no water here, we would be able to, if we started like, let's say the save is right up here, save station. If we started at that save station, you could walk down here, jump through here, go all the way to that Wreckship E-Tank. And in fact, if you do start in Wreckship, you absolutely should do that. That probably is where Morph is. More often than not, Morph will be there. So, like right now, this is a gray door. Wait, it's not a gray door? I wonder. I don't know why that door wasn't gray. I'm confused. I might have. It might be because of the. It's because of the preset I did. So I started with the preset that had already beaten Phantoon and gone to this door. That's why that door wasn't gray. Normally in the practice round, that door would be gray if Phantoon's not beaten yet. But in a random start, this guy's annoying. Go away. In a random start, this door would be blue instead of gray, and it's also blue in an area rando. And the interesting thing about that is it could be possible that something you need, like maybe a speed booster, maybe a space jump, something important, could be at Wreckship E-Tank. And if you don't get it, and you kill Phantoon first, maybe you go down here to kill Phantoon, maybe it's a boss rando and you found Phantoon at Crate and you killed him early. Now all of a sudden, this area is going to have a bunch of water in it. And you're not going to be able to get through here so easily. And so it could be that you were supposed to get that Wreckship E-Tank item before you killed Phantoon, and now it's going to be a lot more difficult to get it. It's almost always going to still be possible with like the bomb jump thing. There's a bomb jump you can do here. But that bomb jump is pretty difficult. It's definitely out of basic logic or easy logic or medium logic. But the point is, running through this empty room will be in basic logic. So that's just something to keep in mind. You might not think about, oh, when you kill Phantoon, normally you're unlocking things, but you're also potentially locking yourselves out of this one check. Something to keep in mind. Area rando, and I think random start as well, will typically have the rolling saves, so if you really get screwed, you might be able to go back to an earlier save before you killed Phantoon. Just something to keep in mind. Also, while I'm here, this will be interesting. I wonder if this Phantoon's not dead, so this save station, yeah, this save station doesn't work in the practice round. Oh, there he is. Yeah, this guy will show up. So you can use this save station if you have area or boss rando on, or I think if you have a random start here, you can use this save station, which you should absolutely do before you go check out the boss if it's a boss rando if you don't know, or maybe just a save stone. I just wanted to point it out. But yeah, if you and also if you stand here too long, that guy will hit you. And then another thing you can do in the wreck ship that might not be obvious with this loadout we have here, this bare bones loadout. So something to keep in mind, typically you're not going to be expected, especially not at the basic or easy difficulty, you're not going to be expected to be jumping around in water too much, trying to get items. Like, you're not going to be able to expected to climb up Mama Turtle. Well, yeah, you're not going to be expected to climb up Mama Turtle without gravity if you're on basic difficulty or easy difficulty. But you might be expected to just fall in the water. See, I don't have to do anything special here. So this item here, should have turned on more for this. This item here, this could be in logic. This could be gravity. And basic difficulty, easy difficulty, that could be gravity. Nothing preventing it. I guess I should clarify. When I say things like that, I'm usually referring to full countdown. For major minor, that will not be gravity. If you get stuck here, you can fire a shot and then start rolling, and then those blocks will be gone. If you don't do that, then you can get stuck here. And I don't have bombs, so I'm really stuck. Beware. Not having bombs in randos, you always gotta be paying attention, because this can happen. I didn't realize, I kind of forgot to talk about it, but obviously with the Moat too, you kind of think of, you normally would have a speed booster or like space jump or something like that to get over the moat, or gravity. But gravity, even if you would have trouble getting over the moat just with gravity suit, I'll probably turn on gravity right now. That still doesn't make it that easy to get over here. If you know gravity jump, then it's easy. Should be easy. You jump before you for the pause. Of course, that was kind of a bad. That was a very lazy gravity jump. So you want to pause and then jump right before the pause. That was a really good one, I think. That was good. It was still barely good enough. But anyway, you don't necessarily have to do that. I mean, you could take the long way. You could take the there's this whole kind of backwards way. You usually come from here. Like in the vanilla game, you're kind of one of the intended routes was to like come through this area. Actually, because I have area random settings on, I could go right through that gate. There's no like green gate there. It's just going to be easy to demo it this way. I mean, you can do that. You don't need a full loadout. To be able to do that. As long as you can get up Maridia. Oh, actually, this is a good point. I forgot to demo this earlier. Speaking of Shinesparks, you might need to know. You don't have to necessarily know how to get to this door here. This kind of tricky jump like that. Because you could just go this way. Oh yeah, I should go back to that preset actually. Anyway. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. So I totally forgot like the other half of what I was gonna demo here. So now I have a lot less equipment items, and I've got speed booster, which is kind of hindering my ability to jump. So if I didn't mention it already, speed booster kind of nerfs your jump. Like, oh no, I can't get up there now. You can kind of run around and get a little bit more speed that way. You can also just turn off speed booster. That's one of those things like knowing you can turn stuff off, and it will help you. You might need to do this. There, now I can get up. You might be expected, forgetting about the Crown Highway for a minute, you might be expected to come over here. Since we have speed booster, we can go ahead and. Oh, we don't have speed booster. Oh, I turned it off. I turned it off. Even with speed booster turned off, you can still come over here, jump over here with basically no items. And get that item there. With speed booster. And that door already open. You can charge up a full spark. Jump a little ways into the room. And pick up this energy tank. So that could absolutely be required as well. But the game does expect you to be able to get around pretty well. With the wall jumping and stuff. So here's another one. This can be done. You don't even need a short charge for this. Kill the crabs ahead of time. So let's do a full spark. Come back to about here. Just do an angle up spark. And we made it. We did even with just 99 energy. You can make it up here. This could be expected. Take right up here. And then once you're up here, you would go through here. There are those sand pits underneath this room, and that would take you down. And once you get below the sand pits, then you get to you could make your way towards Plasma, and from Plasma you can make your way towards the Forgotten Highway. So that whole Forgotten Highway route, I don't really want to cover it in the demo today, but there's that whole route you can do with, you've got gravity, you can do that whole route pretty much. It'd be a little bit tough with no E-Tanks. Again, Varia does not check for that. It's not going to gate you on that E-Tank requirement. Most likely you've found some other goodies, ammo, E-Tanks, something, before you're having to resort to that Forgotten Highway route. But it is definitely something that it might expect you to do in order to cross the moat and get to the other side. Whether it's an area rando or not, you know, that's something that can be for sure in logic. Alright. Let's continue the tour. Alright, so now we're going to be in Upper North here. And once again, I've got barely any equipment. It looks like I've given myself Speed Booster. I've actually turned it off for them. Or no, I did. Not sure. Anyway, sorry, you gotta put up with me. So in this situation, I don't even have Morph, which could happen if we have an early start here. Or maybe you're coming from a Bubble Mountain start or something like that. You don't have Morph yet. You could still be expected to pick up this first item. And even kill this guy. I missed him. And if you miss him, you're just gonna have to wait. You know, you got no morph. You can't. You know, you could kill these Crumbleblocks, I guess. Eventually, that guy will come back, and you'll be able to kill him. Or here he comes up this way. That's interesting. So I have the area rando things on. He came through here. That's kind of funny. But even without the area rando logic on, he will come back. So that could be required, even at basic difficulty. You're not going to be required to do anything else at basic difficulty except for this one check. So you're generally not expected to do any. Oh, I do have Speed Booster off. Okay. Let's put it on. So you're not going to be expected to do anything except for this. See this real quick run through here? I only did like 29 energy. It barely hurt me at all. That one Hellrun, if you can even call it that, that could be in logic. That is not considered a Hellrun by Varia. And then you might be expected to be able to get this item if you had power bombs or some way to get up through here and get to that item. That could be Varia right there. Alright, so next interesting thing I want to cover is, so here's the situation. We're coming from Cathedral, we're heading to Business Center, and we have Speed Booster. We don't have too much else. We don't even have Morph. My favorite thing to not have ever. this scenario. I gave myself a few missiles. You might not even have missiles. This actually be pretty tough if you did have missiles, so hopefully you do. You probably are going to have something. Now the point is, we need to get out of here, and it's not very easy to get out. You can shoot that block and do a wall jump like that. That's not a very easy wall jump. You can see the other way requires morph and some bombs, some way to propel yourself up into that opening. But fortunately, there is another solution, because we have Speed Booster. Just right there. So what you could do is you could shoot this. And then you charge up this spark, come back, and shoot through like that. So that could actually be required, because that spark doesn't require, that could even be required at basic level, because there's no short charge there. Full charge. Pretty rare that would happen, but just kind of one of the funny things that can kind of happen in this game. So another. I guess I do have more fun sparks, but they're later in my demo. I should do them now. Just do everything out of order. So another fun one is Croc. So let's say we've just beaten Croc. You know, in this example, I don't have very much ammo, so I guess I have to charge. You probably would have more ammo than this. But anyway, we've just beaten Croc, and we want to get over to the Croc power bombs here, check. And it's actually possible to do that with Speed Booster. So what you can do is we're going to run all the way over here. Run till you're past the door. Charge, then run. So open the door, and then we can spark from here. And this takes us across this door, and we're going to check this. Now this is a heated check. I didn't actually verify whether this required. Is this also a Hellrun? I mean, you can see it, you get to it pretty quickly, so I would think that you wouldn't necessarily need to have heat protection for that check either, but maybe you do. The rest of Croc is not heated, so you can kind of go through the rest of it without too much hurry. Although you would probably not want to do this room here without some sort of acid reduction. I would think this room. I didn't actually check this room either. I would think that room has some rules about it. That'd be pretty mean if you had to do that room. And then this one, if you've got power bombs. If you have power bombs, then you can clear all this area out, and now we can do like a full charge here. So we can do something like this, shoot up here, and now we've got this mess back. That could be in basic logic. You can also just do a full run and jump, even without high jump, like this, and you can clear this ledge to get over here. Yeah, your grab. So those could both be required. So that covered all those strange sparks that you wouldn't necessarily expect. Now we can kind of get back on track here. So I'm back at Bubble Mountain, and there's actually a very interesting way to get up Bubble Mountain. You can come out of this room, freeze this guy, and then do a jump off this. You might think, oh, that looks like a pretty tricky wall jump. That's got to be out of logic. Personally, I think it should be out of logic, or at least have some sort of logic gate on it, but it doesn't. The main reason I think it should actually be out of logic. Okay, I froze that guy. Look how fast he unfreezes. Like, I barely even have time to jump up on him. If you're not in Norfair, enemies will stay frozen longer. So if you think of the red tower, climb up the red tower, that was developer intended. It was the intended strat, is to freeze those rippers. But they stay frozen for quite some time because you're not in Norfair. When you are in Norfair, these things, they unfreeze. The easiest way to do it is to come from this room, right out the door, shoot that guy. And that might have even still been a little early. Yeah, so that was a little bit tough. I just gotta do it again. I don't have any better ways. I haven't even gave myself Spazer for this. I don't know if that would be necessary. By the way, these little things here, they look kind of scary to wall jump off of. They're not. It's just, you just gotta think of these as a normal wall. That's how Samus is treating it, so that's how you should think of it too. You just gotta get high enough on it. It's not like, it's not anything crazy to wall jump off of these. You might even be able to use Ice Beam to get up to there too, although for that strat, it's actually better to just run out of the save room and do a running jump. Like this. I don't know if that's in logic, actually, but I would recommend learning it if you have Ice Beam, just because it's easier than the Ice Beam stuff. I think it might expect you to be able to use Ice Beam to get up here. We've got one more in this area. Let's head this way. So this should be a red door. Ignore the fact that it's already open. So if you did have missiles or supers, you can just open that door and go through it. But I don't know, those guys can climb down like that. Doesn't make sense that they can. I'm gonna sit around long enough for them to do that. This door is just open. You know, we can just run through here. No missiles or supers needed. And now we can get up here. You might think, oh, this wall jump, this looks crazy. Actually, it wasn't too bad jumping off this thing. That's probably what you're supposed to do. So, for whatever reason, this wall jump, climbing up from here, is given its own technique in the tree. And for the Season Races preset, which is what we're using for Choozo, it marks it as easy. Seems really strange to me that this particular jump is easy, because jumping up like this is pretty difficult to go this way. You're probably supposed to go off the platform. I haven't even ever been doing that now. So you guide this thing down, and then you jump off of it. So if you go underneath them, they will kind of trigger. Yeah, that's easier. It's still not. I still wouldn't call that easy, but it's easier. It's just something to keep in mind. You might be expected to get up this way, and then this could be Morph. This could be your missile pack. This could be your first supers, first missiles. Could be right here. First power bombs. Could be something really important. Alright, I think we're almost to the end. Yep. So, just a couple things left to cover. I just wanted to go down here to this Power Bombs of Shame location. I've given myself a lot of goodies for this demonstration. I don't want to worry about these guys. So, you might think of like a lower Norfair start. You might not have very much stuff, but there is this one item in here. Maybe you get this one item. You know, maybe this is like a progression item. Because you don't need supers to get it. You don't need to kill Ridley to get it. The Varia developers realized this would be pretty mean to make you get this item, so they actually wrote the logic in a way that you have to beat Ridley in order to put this item in logic. This item is not required. I don't even think it's required to beat Ridley. Maybe on the way to Ridley it might be required. But basically, like, if you don't have... you have to be able to, at minimum, you cannot get that item unless you have enough stuff to go through this door here. Which means you'd also have to be able to beat the Metal Pirates. At minimum, you'd have to have enough to beat the Metal Pirates to go through this door. So what I'm trying to say is, if we go back up here, don't bother coming all the way down here just for that Power Bombs of Shame item. That'd be pretty risky play. Probably low payoff there. Oh, I loaded this as a preset. Yeah, this isn't gonna work. Let's see here. Wait, did it? Oh, okay. This is the way I said the preset. Okay, I see. Yeah, the enemies didn't work. Okay. Another thing that can be required in area rando is you might be required to go through Amphitheatre in reverse. And so that means even though all this acid's already here, and you start to do damage the moment you dip into it, you might be required to do this. And Walljump up this way. Oops. And we can see with like a full loadout, both Varia and Gravity, not having too much difficulty with that. Plenty of health to spare there. Might not only have that much health, but I mean, I had like 10 E-tanks, but I only used like 5 of them, and I was kind of lazy and sloppy. I didn't even use Space Jump, really. It's kind of funny when you come back into the room, then it goes back to the state. You can even do this without Gravity. And that might even be required too. I think it might be required to do this without Gravity. Probably at like a higher difficulty. But I want to say even basic difficulty might require that with enough E-tanks and everything. Because it's not really a Hellrun in the same sense. You have all the equipment. So let's try turning off Gravity here. So one difference without Gravity. Nice. Dumb. You can see I don't have the ability to screw attack anymore. So let's restart that. So that's one thing that's different. However, because this is balanced suits, I mean, taking a couple hits, the heat damage and acid damage isn't really doing that much because we have Varia, and you can see we still have the wall jump physics too, because it's acid. So we are still able to clear it even with no gravity. I don't think that's that difficult. I think that could potentially be in logic and easy, maybe even basic difficulty, to be able to do that without gravity. Doing it without Varia, no, it won't happen. You don't have to worry about that. This I think is never required. You see I'm already starting to take some heat damage. Watch what happens when I jump into this. I'm surprised I might even live. No, I'm not gonna live. Yeah. It's you need a lot of heat tanks to be able to do it. At a higher difficulty, it might launch with like 10 or 11 heat tanks or something. It's pretty tough to do without Varia. Or with gravity without Varia. Alright, and then the last thing is everybody's favorite, the Sky Missiles. These Sky Missiles don't really require anything if you have the patience to ride these trippers. And I always do bad at this. This is why it's at the end of the video, so I can cut this out when I screw it up. But yeah, in theory you can just ride these trippers around. I don't even think you need high jump. But yeah, that's the end of my spiel. Yeah, this is where I always struggle. How do you get on the next tripper? You do a crouch jump to get up to them? I swear you can do this is in logic without you doing anything special. You kind of have to like get the trippers on screen too to follow them around. So this one we can kind of lure over this way. You see how slow this is. Nobody likes to go to the Sky Missiles without any good movement items. There should be at least one more tripper. Oh, maybe I can get it from here. Maybe you don't need to be on the top tripper. Where's the top tripper? There it is. Yeah, okay. That's how you do it. You don't get on the top tripper. So going from one tripper to the other is that's why I was in trouble. You can do it. You might need a crouch jump. She wouldn't even want to do that, like what I'm doing. But you can also do this. So it's hard to. You might want to like prep it. Do something like that. Okay, that was a lot better than the last time I tried to demo the trippers, but you don't need that much for that item either. Alright, I think that's my whole spiel. Hopefully the sound quality was okay. And I think I'm going to end it here.